Good morning, good morning, good morning, my friends. Let's play some music and gather around, and then we can jump right into the readings. Hopefully, everybody's great. Okay, see you. I guess Barbie knows what I'm doing. This is my little list. I'm trying to help her. She's doing such a good job. So I actually didn't prepare who is first, who is kind of like the order. I kind of like have a clue who is where. So we're going to do it that way. Hello, guys. Hello. Nice to see you. And my apologies to everybody for the last week. Oh my gosh, with my OCD, when things don't work out, I was like so upset. And it's really hard for me because I cannot focus. I cannot focus if there is hammering. I cannot focus if there is like a loud noise out there. I literally, even when I speak to clients over the phone and they have a fan that goes right into the phone, I kind of like am sensitive to that. Like, ugh, I wish I'm not. So last week was one of those things where, I kind of like felt it that way. So my espresso is here. Let's put this aside. And hopefully this week is going to cooperate. Mind you, I did get a different stand, so it's not the best. I'm just using it right now. I think it's like too much on the table, but we are going to see what can happen. Hi Steve, nice to see you. Let's see who else is like we have two Barbs right over here, and Crystal, hello, hello, hello. Dakota, nice to see you. The video connection got much better, really, like that's what I noticed. And this is the same camera. I think what was happening was that my camera software got updated and collapsed with this OBS software which I use for networking, because I kid you not, I was like obsessing for an hour before live last Saturday and I couldn't make it work. And I just made it work on just ridiculous slow kind of res. And then after the live, I was like, okay, I just need to have a coffee. I had a coffee and I restarted the whole computer, which I did so many times before. And it just worked. So I didn't have to buy a new camera. Hey, good morning, Sally. Good morning, Biljana. Good morning, Michelle. So, meanwhile, for me, Mercury retrograde, as you probably know if you follow me, starts early, starts with shadows this year. It started even with early shadow, which I'm telling you, I'm picking this up, these planets, and they're like so freaking far, far in a distance. So it's just unbelievable. That's because of strong Virgo in my chart. And my Fitbit, they sent me update of the software yesterday, and have bricked my Fitbit. Luckily, they're going to be sending me a new one because I guess they're really embarrassed. So, guys, be careful. Some of you are going to be affected when we go into Mercury retrograde, October 31st to November 20th, and some of you may, yes, Libra is going to be first billionaire because it's happy birthday to Libra, and it's going to start this way. Guys, you're like out there and partying. So let me have a sip of my espresso. Hopefully everybody is having some kind of coffee over there. I kind of like really feel connected to you. I broke up with Starbucks, I really have to tell you. That's my expensive habit. 2 Americanos per day got really expensive. I calculated that I was spending $3,000 a year. So with buying a good espresso machine and coffee, I think I'm going to save over $2,000. So there you go. So I have Cat's Eye Tarot today. I have here on the side, in a case I needed, I have my Lenormand Gypsy cards. I have Gilded, and I have chakra cards. And I kind of like really like that last week was like rather shorter, even though it was like maybe too short, and I was not fully really in there, so that kind of like was not a bad thing, but it was good thing that kind of like it kind of like went out really concise. Hi Anita, good. Oh, Netherlands, nice to see. There you have Aquarius Sun and Moon. I'm Aquarius Sun, Mercury and Venus. So Libra, let's start with you. Let me start writing this for Madame, what's her name? Barbie. Please, everybody give shout out to Barbie. You really have to kiss her ass because she kind of like says to me, hey, you know, you need to do the reading for the room. So she's like really domineering toward me, but I love it. So all good, right? So let's start. Libras, what is in the store for you guys this particular week? Oh, your moon is tomorrow? Yes, we are having basically Aries full moon. So Barbara, you really need to kind of like figure out what you have been doing back in, is it Aries? Yes, it is Aries. Back in Aries transition because it's linking. So you have the Hierophant, which is really interesting. Let's get something more. Yeah, guys, tell us like your sign so that way we know. And please, when I read a sign, tell me, like, I mean, do you have any planets in there? For those of you who are maybe new here, you might want to look below. And by the way, these cards, I usually look only upright, but this one came sort of, so I will have to do it this way because it's kind of like weird deck that way. So Libras for this week. Ooh, see, this one is really good when it's reversed. So the Hierophant is really interesting card. It's not my favorite, but it is, it's a good card. And why is it not my favorite? Because I'm Aquarius and we are very rebellious, right? And look at this. I actually have a completely green live stream. I didn't have it in a while, and the cards look much better. I don't know. Is it just me, or you guys tell me? I just said that and it started to create problems. So the Hierophant talks about big structures, and of course it went offline. Hello, what the hell is going on? Please reconnect. What just happened? You see how my Mercury works? Did you notice this? It is unfreaking believable how this really works. Yeah, the connection went out after just I bragged about how good it is. So it went from green to red. Okay, so it is what it is. Hopefully, at least you see the cards. So this is the card that really talks about structures. It is really talking about groups. Yeah, thank you. I'm just like monitoring, and hopefully this is going to stay. The Hierophant, it also says I have some moral advantage, right? and kind of like it's really interesting when it kind of like gets to that stage. But this can also talk about unity. This can also talks about agility. For example, actually technically this card should translate to unity, which can actually talk about yoga in a sense. But it's also identification with a group of some sort, right? So in this particular deck, right, when this cat wants to be heard, right, he kind of like steps up and he speaks. We know like one single kitty that lives over here in this household and kind of like does this, right? And this is the cat that is usually very respected in the household, and both by, you know, Matrix, Tigra, and me, right? So for example, with cats, they're like not rigid kind of like social orders, but they do have the hierarchy. They do have this kind of like etiquette that has to be learned, you know, like you see this hissing and stuff like that, right? So I really think here you need to figure out what is your role in that community, right? And it might be lots of information. It might be that sometimes some things you feel they're proper and some things are improper. So it looks to me that you'll be doing some kind of like house cleaning in your life. It's almost like when we have birthdays. And guess who is going to have the birthday in a few days? Barbie. Barbie's Libra. Happy birthday to Barbie. So what's going to be happening here, guys, you're going to have a huge aha moment. This to me all talks about a commitment. If you guys are in a commitment mode, well, hello, Libra always freaking is, then this is really talking about that. And it almost looks like that you're like shying away from some kind of decision. That you see, Seven of Swords is always about, it's kind of like really interesting. She's like next to the electrical outlet and she's not overly happy about that, right? But they never put the fingers. They're not human children, right? They're like furry children. So it's kind of like all good. But Seven of Swords is generally talking about, hey, you know, somebody put a kitty in the corner. Like, so there's a baby in the corner. It can also talk about self-interest. And I really feel this is like where we really are over here with you. That this is really important to kind of like assess. And it is about, look at that. Maybe not building something. Maybe you're feeling like something doesn't jive. You're really looking at the big picture. You guys can do that. You're like absolutely experts in, hey, you know, where do I move from here and how do I do that, right? Because there is like some kind of mistrust in this whole situation over here. So we will see. Okay, even better. So yes, and let me just get the chakra card here for you for a change. Expansion, yay and yay and yay. I really think this is really talking about communication. This is kind of like falling in throat chakra, right? And when we get this card, right, so this is like maybe somebody's making you a whole bunch of promises and you're saying, well, I don't know if I should trust you, right? Remember, this one was reversed, and this is like, I don't know if I should kind of like continue with you. Can we really build this kind of like forever together? But look at here what we see, right? I think the story behind here is that the sky god is coming here and asking them, hey, you know what? I want to color the sky. Which kind of color do you think I should really have? Should it be purple? Because I think clouds are really good in the purple. Should it be yellow? Or maybe like could be too clashing with the sun kind of a thing, right? But then a great spirit comes and says to him, look, follow your intuition. Be like a tarot reader. It's going to come to you. The right answer will come. So sky god then trusts and he is following this like intuition guidance, and he says, whoa, it's going to be blue. So this is, and that can go with a Hierophant. You're seeking a guidance, but you're not seeking guidance one-on-one. You're seeking guidance in groups. So it could be that you're belonging to some groups, but it has to be a larger group. That's why usually religion is covered over here. It could be organization you work for and so on and so forth, right? Also, if this person or if anybody comes in your way and they're critical of you or your dreams, they're going to be deleted on your phone so freaking fast their head will spin, right? This might actually refer to your friends, a group of friends, and that you are just having a birthday and you're scratching your head like, what the hell is going on? And also it's going to be turnaround point for you. And I guess this full moon in Aries, which is completely the opposite of you. It's kind of like really messing you up. With this Mars and full moon in Aries, it's kind of like hell galore for you. But you are going to really kind of like feel guided. You're going to go through this progress this particular week. So it's going to be very, very powerful. Your birthday is still going to be the week after. So, but I think you're going to make huge steps forward in this particular week. Yeah, it is like 1111. That's true. So let's see. Jenny, we just finished Libra. And I think Leo is still dominating. So let's go. Leo. You're going next. Leo. Any Leos over here, guys? Please say it. I know Sally is. Do we have any other Leo? And guys, if you didn't join my social media, please join my social media. Obviously, your subscribers, if you're here. And if you find something interesting for somebody else, then share it on your social media, share it on their social media, because they might want to hear it. Barbie is great this way. She posts stamps really quickly after the live, so that can kind of help you. Oh, I put this in a wrong, bracket over here. Just give me a second to see if I can erase this. Sorry. This is going to be fun. Mercury retrograde. So Leo, nothing is coming out. Okay, finally we got a whole bundle. So Leo, you have the High Priestess, you have Ten of Wands, you have Knight of Swords, and have Queen of Wands. It looks to me, guys, it looks to me, guys, that you will be dealing with your intuition. So this full moon is, and mind you, like, this is in Aries, it is your sister sign. Look at her looking at this full moon and wondering, but she's looking back. And I really think looking back, because we see the same motive in both of these cats. And it's kind of like, maybe you got rid of two people. Maybe one was male, maybe one was female, and maybe it was a couple. You just felt there was like something here connecting to secrets. Ten of Wands is always struggling upward and kind of like carrying too much, having too much on your shoulders, collapsing under that kind of like heavy weight, right? This really tells me, or you might have like two people being extremely bitchy, and sorry to use this word, it's kind of like very misogynistic, I feel, but like I cannot find a better explanation over here. You might also see something or somebody possibly trying to mess something of yours that you have been really working on for quite a while. This week for you is going to really help if you guys try to see things from a different perspective, trying to see why these people are doing that, and try to kind of like have this understanding in your own head that something has been happening for a reason. This is a very strong reading that I see over here. Victim. Who is the victim here, guys? There's like somebody here that is crying murder. It was a different card that shows this squirrel cheating dragon from his acorn over here, but in this one is really telling you that you really need to kind of like really see if there are parts of your life that you're being in denial. Maybe something is holding you back, right? So this is really telling me you need to make an honest assessment of your situation, and that assessment is going to go intuitively. It's not going to be I see that and I'm counting how many, like I'm in coffee or fruits I have on a table. It's going to be something emotional. The High Priestess has that psychic quality, and she's also always kind of like separating the weeds from the right thing, right? So it's kind of, oh, sure, you can come, no, you can't, no, you didn't pass your lesson, and so on and so forth, right? So you have to look in your own actions, and how is this connected to your inability. You kind of like are trying to get somewhere, you're trying to kind of like break through something, right? You're trying to move in, but you feel like blocked. You feel that there are like some kind of like walls, and you say, okay, on the surface doesn't nothing looks like really horrifying, but you're feeling, hey, you know what, like, I mean, I need to make new choices. So don't blame other people. If you go this week into mode, hey, you did this to me, boo, or, you know, if you feel blocked, understand this is a card that always suggests moving forward. This is the card that really says, you know, move over that. If somebody is a victim over here, you guys, you need to just like send them on their own way and just tell them, look, you know, we have to kind of like talk here as adults, and, you know, kind of like, let's kind of like work on it, right? So this is about breakthrough, this is about growth, and this is about empowerment. So keep this in mind, because you might have some people over here, and I guess I'm moving too much and I'm having this blurry screen. You might have some people who will disturb your peace of mind, or maybe you're going to say, oh heck, same old, I'm not going in that situation anymore. So don't fall into this, and don't let anybody to guide you down one way or the other. Absolutely, it's not going to be a problem. Okay, so let me try to say one more time. Is this kind of like my opinion, or these cards seem to be much clearer? Like, so I guess maybe YouTube also improved their own stuff. So the next one is going to be Sagittarius. Saggies. Is it choppy for you, Chris? It looks kind of like really great on my end. Camera went out of focus because I was moving hands too much, so I really have to make sure. That's Mercury retrograde, guys, what we are observing. That's what's happening. Sagittarius. How many Saggies? How many Saggies cross watchers we have here? Sagittarians, 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 Sagittarians. Saggies. So we have Six of Cups, Three of Cups, and Temperance. That's your card, guys. So Six of Cups is really talking about memories. It is clearly the card that I expect a lot during this Mercury retrograde, right? Six of Cups is usually about reminiscing, right? So in this particular card, I really like their kittens, right? And these kittens are just babies, right? So that probably means that mommy is somewhere around. And I guess there's like this first exploration of the world, which means kind of like everything is like really interesting. So I also like the arm around his sister or brother, kind of like it's almost like protective over here. So that card always makes me smile, right? And so this card is saying that maybe over years we become too cynical. Maybe, you know, we need to get reminder in way of other people, or we'll watch a movie or some kind of like sort where it's going to tell us that random acts of kindness are also part of life, that we are protected, and there's like help of mommy, mother, cat somewhere around, right? So yeah, these are memories. Maybe you will be taking comfort in memories, but some of you might also feel guilty about those memories, because look at this, the Ace of Swords, like my karma card, is just looming in the background. There's like something about something being cut, that you're like probably thinking about some kind of breakup over here, and it's really kind of like getting to you. And then we are getting here into the Three of Cups, And this card is about happiness. This card is about getting along. This card is about friends. I have a feeling that some of you will go down the memory lane all the freaking way to high school, all the way, like, I mean, in your early parts of life. And you'll be really thinking about how exuberant you were. And maybe that's going to be a little bit of happy, sad, bittersweet, as they call it, right? So this also card tells me that you're not alone, guys. So you need to remember who you're sharing your life with and why. So because you're assessing people in your life and you're seeing who sees you through your best and who sees you through your worst in this life, right? So you will be kind of like repositioning yourself, almost like patting yourself on the shoulder and saying to yourself, you know, I chose well. It's kind of like all good. Because this is your card. And I love how this card is presented in this deck, right? So they're sleeping together in kind of like this yin and yang, right? And like they're balancing over here on this, what is this called? Balustrade, I guess, right? And they're kind of like really not even looking at this coastline. So I think maybe some of you feel that you're gone too much out on a limb, and maybe it's time to go back in the center. Maybe there was like something about extreme, maybe something that made you really alive or feeling alive, right? But you know, there is really no compromise. Like here is like about patience. Here are like the things that they need to go back in the middle, because this can also talk about kind of health issues, that health kind of like really requires this like balanced system. And anything that has been in excess, anything that you feel that maybe you have overdone, it has to be looked upon. And it's very, very important to kind of like look in this. So let me see, Sagittarius. Whoa, talking about health. Can you see what this door is saying here? No, I try to zoom in. The problem is like when I zoom in, I have no idea if this is zooming into you because I'm getting this like a moments later. But above this door, it says emergency room. To me, this card is really talking about, look at all these disconnected pieces. I always, when I look at this card, other than the emergency room, talks to me about, oh my gosh, there's like some kind of like disconnect over here. Maybe you're feeling there's like that there's like something that you have outgrown. Okay, like I see that I actually didn't show you this emergency room. It didn't crystallize, but trust me on this one. You're like kind of like also thinking about becoming independent. And it looks like that you have your version of the truth, and you're standing up for this and you're living your truth, but you also lacking safety. Clearly you feel like you're somewhere pushed out on the limb. So this is going to take about courage, and this is going to take about clashing values. So this can also tell me that there is a kind of trip coming up, even possibly to a foreign country, or the growth that really needs to take place. And that is going to be very important over here, my dear Saggies. All right, next one is actually Scorpio, I think. So, Scorpio. Any Scorpios over here? Scorpios got so silent. Scorpios had a really tough time over the last 2.5 years. Sagittarius and Scorpios had a tough time. And Scorpios started to really feel well. And all of a sudden they're feeling well. They're gone from their tarot reading. So it's really, really interesting. So, Scorpio. King of Swords. 8 of Cups. And 5 of Cups. King of Swords reversed is not a fun guy to have around, or a fun person to have around. It could be that you're expecting some kind of honesty or some kind of justice, and then things explode in your face. right? You get stuck and somebody is just barraging you. So it just like kind of like feels you're coming to work and you know somebody has herbal diarrhea, or somebody's like analyzing things way too much. It could be simply that you have an air type of a person in your head, or just simply an airhead who is just simply not accepting certain explanation over here, right? So this really talks about somebody who used to be coming in your life in and out as they please, kind of a thing, even though they were kind of like staying close to you. Maybe you're really wondering, you are really wondering if and why this person was doing that, but this person seems to be right now departing, because look at this emotional quantity over here. So 5 and 8 is 13, right? And that kind of like represents you, represents the death card, represents the transition. You're moving on from some situation where maybe there were like lots of, and this could be a domestic situation, maybe it could be a partner, this even could actually mean a marriage. Interestingly enough, or somebody is moving on. Like 8 of Cups is a very interesting card. It all we see here is like, oops, I'm taking off kind of a thing. And we kind of like have certain sadness when we kind of see this card. But technically, this card really means that somebody's seeking for deeper meaning, right? Maybe they're wary of the situation, which kind of like does look like it is your case. But, you know, this journey into unknown, maybe you have been supporting someone who needs to kind of like learn to stand on their own 2 feet, right? And there is like somebody slipping out here, maybe through your fingers, but you know, they're looking for something that they felt maybe they can find in you, or you're looking for something that you felt you can find in someone. It's kind of like the element of sadness in this, but there's like also a huge element of hope. And it is about some commitment, because of some situation here and no longer is providing what you need. So, you know, you can stay and try to make it better, or you can just simply move on. You guys have a choice. You need to listen to your heart. You're really afraid of the choices though, because this 5 of Cups is usually that sadness. But you know, 5 of Cups reversed can mean that somebody's coming back, or maybe somebody left and somebody's coming back. There is like this essence of revolving door. Do you have people who kind of like don't feel steady in your life, right? Because this is some kind of regret. Maybe somebody left your life and now regretting it. It's Mercury retrograde. They're deciding, oh, let's see how your so and so is doing. So again, be very careful how you approach them. Ooh, look at that. Enlightenment and soulmate. Yeah, guys, this is what I was saying in the introduction. You guys just got so quiet, which kind of like tells me that you probably have something going on in your life. Now, this is really interesting. I see this little boy opening his arms and saying, take me, and guide me, right? And there's like this big sky guy showing up. And enlightenment to me is like about getting it. It's about, you know, yellow kind of like parts over here as well as gray ones, or crown chakra and solar plexus chakra, are kind of like revealing our planning processes, right? So do you have a logical or do you have a scattered approach? And I can see this is like highly emotional in this particular case, right? So this to me says that you just want a peace. You just say, whatever, you want to leave, please do leave. I need to know where I am, and for good. Whatever it is, we need to cross this bridge. Like, I mean, it looks to me you transitioned, at least the viewers of this channel transition to this new timeline, right? Because this kind of like reminds me of the Lover's card, where there's like a mountain to kind of like climb, and there is a journey over here. But here it's really important that you understand that at this time your journey is more important than your destination. So if you face fears, you need to know that you need to work in the present, that you need to kind of like move the step forward about that. So this is like also some kind of like support and confidence that you're like reaching good decision. And the soulmate card here is very interesting. It's falling into kind of like base chakra, so it's not heart chakra kind of a things over here. So this is about true feelings over here, right? It's kind of interesting story that they're given in this particular deck. They're saying that the guy wants to break up with a girl, and he already knows the kind of like how this goes. He's going to say to her, you know what, I don't love you anymore, and he kind of like already knows. But he also expects that she's going to say, how can you do this to me, right? In this situation, she didn't go into this victim, or she didn't go into despair. Instead, she said, I love you. And all of a sudden, he couldn't render the rest of his, speech that he had prepared. And he knows that just few more words and he is free. He's kind of venturing into that unknown. But all of a sudden, he understands, I love you too. I'm actually really dealing with my fears over here. So the freedom that somebody saw it over here, right, in the past, it looks like it's really not the freedom that you wanted. And that's basically what I was saying here. Sometimes you walk away, but you do come back understanding, hey, I actually had what I want and what I need. So this is about some kind of truth over here. So if you're enjoying the beauty of the rose, if you have your partner who is the rose, remember they're going to have thorns, right? You might get pricked from time to time, So the best incentive to change is love. It's going to be highly emotional. You are almost like cutting off any kind of like processes that are highly analytical, and you're kind of like really saying, let's go in, let's connect to that kind of like feeling. How do I feel about it? How comfortable I feel about it? In which direction you go? So this is really enlightenment, my dear Scorpio. That's why I spend so much time, because to get there, it really tells that you did something really, really right. So Barbie, applause for Barbie. She is directing me. So guys, I need to kind of block this so you don't see me shuffling. But where am I? Where is this? Psychic? There we go. My psychic card. So guys, ask a question, and let's do it this way, and choose one of the doors. I'm going to shuffle the cards and then put these cards on the table, and you can get more or less yes or no question answer that might give a little bit of more elaboration over here. Oh, more shuffling. Oh, I have to put this here. Timestamp for Barbie. Number 1 to number 2. Actually, I didn't see it myself either, so let's do it this way. Sorry, I'm just trying to do everything slower this time around. So door number 1, the moon. That is an interesting card. I just remembered my dream, and I was explaining this card to a tween. I think she was like 7, 8, 9 years old, and she was asking, what does the moon mean? Does this mean I'm confused? And it's so weird, it's just all coming to me, because look at here, we see this machinery. So the moon talks about a fib that we come up with. So for example, what I said to this girl in a dream, and I never actually said it in my school, I said, remember Santa Claus? Remember when you believed in Santa Claus and you really thought Santa Claus was real? But Santa is not real, right? And Santa is neither alive nor dead. Santa is just not real. Santa will live forever. So the only God that we really kind of like have created for children is Santa. Same thing with Easter Bunny. That was my explanation then, and this is my explanation now. Something that you really want does not exist. It would never happen in a way you're envisioning this. So you might have some really strong dreams that will give you that information that I'm giving you now, but you might just simply abandon this thing. Almost like this involves jealousy in the process, and there is a clash of your conscious and subconscious, because you feel that you really want something from inside, but it doesn't materialize on the outside. And it's kind of like weird because it just can't. It's almost like you have an egg at home and then you're expecting chicken to come out of it. It just can't. And hence this question, you need to really reassess and start from the beginning, because this is number 9 after all. And there is a full moon tonight. That's correct. Oh my gosh, look at, we have the moon and this, oh, look at how lovely they look together. I have never seen them in this deck together, but I know you asked for this. So this is absolutely yes. Be hopeful. Things are working well. And the plans, just dream bigger. The only way you can fail here that you're not dreaming big. You really need to reach for the stars over here. And oh my gosh, we have 3 majors. Guys, everybody who asked for this is really powerful. The Empress talks about, if you're a woman and you're asking, let's say, a relationship question, I have a good news and I have a bad news. Because you see, the Empress represents Venus. And Venus is about beauty. Venus is about attraction. So yes, you'll be very attractive. You'll be attracting them like bees to honey. And this is also about creativity, about work, about progress, about writing, about painting. So the negative part of this is that somebody can put you on a pedestal and somebody might feel, you know, she's never going to go for me. That somebody considers you the perfect woman, but so freaking perfect that they don't dare to come close. And little do they know that you actually really want to be with them. So that's very, very important over here, right? So I know that Barbie is going to ask this again. So let's move on. And who was next? I think Gemini. I think Gemini was even in front of Sagittarius. So my apologies, Gemini. I'll make up to you. So let's do that. Gemini's. Gemini. Moon and stars up above. I know this was like really strong. And I also feel, guys, that this is telling about this group. Like, it's also sent me a message, and I better tell you, because it kind of like said, okay, you chose one of the doors, but it kind of like felt connected. It felt like that maybe we are all going in the wrong direction, that we need to set ourselves straight and then get busy, get working, and be very intuitive, be very kind of like progressive about that. So it's very, very interesting. So you're in Gemini, needing Yogi. Good morning. And what sign are you? We have the 8 of Cups reversed. Gemini. Okay, let's do this. We have 8 of Cups, we have 4 of Wands, and we have 5 of Wands. Well, 8 of Cups, I don't know which sign I was like explaining. I think it was Scorpio. It is really interesting card, right? So there is a key, for some reason, embarking on a journey. And this is Tiger that you're hearing being very loud and sloppy. Yes, good morning, mister. And Tiger is going to be 1 year old on the 26th. On 26th, there'll be no reading because I'm taking this whole day. It's just dedicated to Mr. Tiger. So, this is the card of hopes and aspirations. It's kind of like, as I said, it is a bittersweet. It is kind of like, hey, I'm turning my back to you, but at the same time, I'm exploring. Am I having everything in my life that I need to have? Am I settling? And why am I settling? Is this what I want to do? Like almost like middle-age crisis for some reason that we are getting there, right? So yeah, Barbie, you heard that one. But it was reversed over here, guys. It almost tells me that there's like somebody coming back over here, and you don't even know what to do with this. Or somebody's coming back. Oh my gosh, you're like, there are some kind of lies that are happening over here. Because I see this Ace of Swords and I pick up all these karmic cards. It's reversed. So something hasn't been said, or the truth hasn't been told, or somebody is just quiet over something, which I see it over here because it comes back to the Hanged Man. You kind of like have to start looking at things from your enemy's perspective, from the people who are criticizing you. It's very important. So somebody did come back, and you're saying like, why did you come back if I'm so bad? What? So, well, that's the whole essence of being together, having a relationship. People are fallible, and I'm kind of like really dealing with this, right? Because I can see here there will be lots of need to kind of like establish some kind of commitment that needs to be discussed. Who did what is done. Five of Wands is kind of like friendly banter, but in this friendly banter, everybody is understanding kind of like how far you need to push or how far you don't need to push, right? So sometimes it basically talks about the proverbial line in the sand, right? So it could be competition, it could be disagreement, it could be confrontation, right? So here you can see this is like, I mean, play fight over here, right? And this is kind of like learning the skills for adulthood over here. So you need to be very careful here, my dear Geminis. I think that nobody really likes to be disagreeable, right? Except your Gemini or another air sign. But you know there's a price to pay for being disagreeable. Immediately, people dislike you, because if you're agreeable, people like you. If you're disagreeable, you're independent, you usually succeed, but the cost is that you have to walk over some people, right? So I really think here it's going to be a question of your own confidence about something or somebody. Maybe you are coming back to someone. Maybe you are like addressing and trying to get disclosure, because I can see this Mercury retrograde coming here through so many different ways. Whoa. It's another communication card. Vanity. Look at this. The God comes here to the party and he's telling them about the virtue of spirituality and how great it is to kind of like feel a certain way and to kind of like walk the right path. And they're like, whoa, is this entertainment? Is that what they thought? Like, I mean, to be to this party kind of a thing. So clearly, you know, like these people are not sold. They're like in their own mode. I need money. I need prestige. I need to be seen. I'm sort of like cream of the cream or kind of a thing. They're laughing at this kind of like God, right? And instead, not only laughing, they're starting to ridicule this God and saying, well, you know what, we want more. Like, can you give us something? Can you be a genie kind of a thing, right? So it's kind of like really interesting, because when is enough, guys? Like here, like I think that you might have this little bit issue because of, you know, these two faces that you have, and sometimes you put yourself in a loop. So there is like some kind of disconnection. You will be disconnecting from someone, or you will be working on not being disconnected from someone. Maybe you have limiting relationships over here in your life. Maybe you're living in illusion. Maybe you're doubting yourself, as I basically said over here. So it's going to be some kind of like transformation, because I think what you are really, really tired is that you have people around you with whom you have extremely empty conversations. And it's almost like it feels like you're moving one step forward, two steps back, and you're like tired of this, and you're saying, okay, let me see how this really how you see it from your own eyes, from your own vantage point, and let's see if I can correct it, if I can fix it. So that's interesting. So the next one is going to be Aquarius. My dear Aquarius girls and boys. Who is Aquarius here? Ooh, we have a King of Cups. Aquarius. And we have Eight of Wands. Oh my gosh, it's really interesting rendering of Eight of Wands in this deck. And we have a Queen of Wands reversed. I don't know why, but it just flashed the third party situation before my eyes. And these cards would really not indicate that, but I'm just telling you, like, my intuition is very important, because Eight of Wands is generally a very good card. But look at in this particular deck, the kitty is saving the kittens, right? She kind of like has this determination to kind of like bring, you know, her kittens from this like raging fire, right? Eight of Wands is generally about something that needs to be addressed really, really fast, right? So something that needs your immediate attention. This could be a couple. It could be a couple of people who are maybe breaking up. maybe this is you breaking up. Maybe something will need to kind of like really be addressed in this particular week. So it is the one person over here who is gentle, who is soft place to fall. And there's like somebody who is very demanding and who is saying, well, you know, like, I mean, this is really nice, I like that, but this cannot kind of like go on forever, and it's really important not to fear. So I really think this is going to be a lot about trusting your own instincts and pushing things in a new direction, my dear Aquarians. It could simply mean that somebody might call us and tell us even that they love us, and we will turn on them. It sounds like typical Aquarius. It's kind of like really, really hard to address this. It could be that somebody really let us down, and we are saying, well, you know, I put you on a pedestal, this is all I wanted, and where is my thing go, right? So this is what I wanted, and you didn't give it to me, so now it's kind of like too late, and let's kind of like stop with this pretending. Let me just see what chakra card would do that to clarify this. Aquarians. So it's going to be a people. Oh my gosh, we're getting vanity again. So the same story. Maybe somebody's not listening. Maybe we are saying something and they just keep having their own vision of the truth, their own involvement. Oh my gosh. It just like came the little unicorn on the screen, and like I just saw this like screaming face. It actually scared me. That's actually hilarious, right? Yeah, that unicorn toy, like, and some people actually offered me money to buy it and sell it to them. I said nope. It took me forever to even find how to get it. So I really think, guys, we need to be aware that we feel very powerful, that we can kind of like BS our way into something, right? Also about our motivation, which is really important over here. So I really think this really talks about creating balance for, I guess the balance is going to be what is true in our heart and what we communicate, right? Because this is clearly a communication card, right? So even if this means, hey, you're going to hear the truth that, you know, is real. Again, about being agreeable, disagreeable. We will not just play along. So this can be a time of really awakening to a completely new way of being, right? So you really need to be aware of any kind of distractions. And it could be a female that can distract you. It could be some fiery exchange that can happen, which will need to be dealt with. So in a situation that happens, and I don't know, like this card really looks like Tower, but it's really not Tower. In this situation, what you really need to remember, am I doing this for the right reasons? And am I going in the right direction? Because that is going to be the key determinant, because it's so going to be easy to say, I need bigger, I need better, I want more money. That's the false direction, because that all will follow if we kind of like choose the proper things. So this is going to be a turnaround point, so much that is telling you it must be dealt with right now. You're sleeping on your kind of like watch. So it's very, very important, my dear Aquarians, to kind of like deal with this. So it's going to be really interesting, and it could be two people, or it could be one of these people is us, or both of these guys are us, that we will maybe be calm and emotional, but toward the end of the week we will kind of like take our pangs out. Maybe somebody is going to just try to, you know, lure us into their ego-driven world, and we are not going to completely like it. So the next one is Aries. So Aries, let's see, what do we have for you? Aries, and Aries. So we have Seven of Pentacles, we have King of Cups, and then we have Five of Cups. Whoa, that's hard to That's hard to explain. So let's get this one. So yeah, did I not tell you that's hard to explain? It's kind of like I'm confused what's going on here, because everything is starting well. You're starting this week with a good attitude. Seven of Pentacles is just about building things up and continuing with everything that has been kind of like already invested, right? So it's also assessing the situation. Should I go out? It's cold and it's snowy, kind of a thing, right? But you know, it's so nice and warm inside, kind of a thing, right? So there is like the kitty here sitting and sort of like taking stock of the situation, right? So he's looking at his housemates. Maybe he has somebody he's living with who kind of like always kind of come out with the food, and now, well, where the hell is this food? Do I really have to go out, right? So is there a price you need to pay to kind of like live in such comfort, right? It's kind of like really, really interesting. So this is going to be the time to look into how far you've been through, right? Because look at this, is the transformational card that we see over here as well, as it was in many of the readings as well. So you really didn't, you're finding yourself inside of crossroads. It's almost like there's like some kind of like sense of sadness over here, because you need to prepare to move on, and you need to be prepared to enjoy what life can offer, right? But in the Five of Cups, kind of like we see almost like some kind of like abandonment, right? So, you know, there is like a woman who is carrying two of her kittens, right? So she doesn't know why this is happening. All she knows, hey, my kittens are gone. I cannot do anything. So this is like this huge sense of loss. But look, the Star card is hiding underneath, right? So this card is never really welcome card in any reading, right? Especially upright. So I think there is going to be some kind of change, Aries, that is going to make you kind of like pull, because look at, we don't have the fire anywhere. It's going to make you pull inside, assess how things are happening. It could be some kind of like sense of grief that is happening, because we clearly have this card of confusion. It's not an easy card to deal with either, right? It's almost like better to be sad, at least you know where you are. For Aries, like you're pushing it forward, kind of a thing. But this is an interesting card. So this is telling me that you are like sort of like measuring things analytically, and is this workable? Is this doable? And then you're feeling really good about that, but somebody lets you down. And you're still hopeful even if they let you down. That's going to be the flavor of the week, because we are not reading for this entire month, right? So of course this is making you feel confused, right? So this is also about finding love and understanding that love has thorns, right, as well. So this is about also support of the other people and how will they come across, because it's really important, guys. It's going to be almost like, feels like one of those crossroads points where you're saying, you know, should I just leave everything and drop everything? Because knowing going forward, I know it's going to be hard, and I will really need to claim this love. So it's going to be really difficult. So that is going to be something you really need to deal with this entire week. So, oh my gosh, and confused Aries, not much fun to be around. Like you get grumpy, and you kind of like get disoriented. So it can kind of like get weirded out. The next one is Virgo. So Virgo, 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 Virgo. Let's see. Virgo. Weird how the cards were coming out. So you have King of Pentacles, which kind of like would be your flavor, and you have a Page of Swords. Yes, Ace of Wands and Queen of Wands. Oh my God, that is actually really interesting, guys. So, King of Pentacles, it's telling me that you guys have been let down. And you have been let down by something that you thought was sure thing. This could be a job. It could be at work, something kind of like fell through, right? But you are still being observed. You know, Page of Swords to me always describes a person who, let's say you break up with someone and you're really sure you want to break up with someone. But as soon as you make this decision, as soon as you render this to this person, or somebody renders to you, like, doesn't matter, that person who did the breaking up is now having thoughts and saying, well, you know, I wonder. No, I'm pretty sure I want to break up with you, but I have wondered always if you can be a better person than you're right now, because it kind of like really bothered me, this and this and this about you, right? So you are continuing to observe this person. And then maybe you have your own disagreement with this person, but let's say you're still staying friends on Facebook, for example, because this card connects to social media, connects to some kind of communication that is on a neutral territory. And then you're seeing that, you know, they're like showing a really gentle side, kind of like showing, exposing their belly, if you wish. And you're really having second thoughts. Or somebody broke up with you and they're observing you in that way over here. And then, ta-da, it's Ace of Wands and Queen of Wands. It almost looks like there's like big change. Maybe you broke up with someone, or you have been broken up with, and now there's like a huge potential for things to come back together in a really strong way, because you know what's going to happen. Look at that little paw over here trying to get the freaking snake. We know how that's going to end over here. It's going to be a big jump, and they're going to kind of like come together, and it's going to be really interesting what's going to happen out of it, because there's clearly something that I'm picking up that is not completely resolved. There are clearly issues over here, but Ace of Wands is always giving this promise of something new. If there's like not somebody from the past, guys, this can really talk that somebody from the past is going to be checking you out on your social media. Also, this can also talk about technological breakdown. You understand, like, you guys are being ruled by Mercury. Usually guys face that, but this is talking about some kind of enthusiasm and courage, right? And this is basically testing like your skills and nerves, right? So both of these kitty cat and snakes are really confident. So it's kind of like some action that comes to mind and asking you, are you up for this challenge? Are you considering the consequences? But looks like you're just pushing it forward. You also have Queen of Wands over here, because the only warning I would say is to be careful. Are you kind of like biting off more than you can chew, kind of a thing, right? But you guys are going to either be attracted to someone, or you will feel very attractive and you'll be very self-assured. So this kind of like brings positive spin to the situation, right? So it's charm, it's confidence, and kind of like almost like somebody who you can walk in a park and be in a really crappy mood, and then somebody's like so cheery and so happy that it just like overwhelms you like a wave. So that is what's going to be that's what's going to happen. Some kind of like sunshine is going to come in a way. Snakes are not necessarily deception. Snakes are actually very neutral, because you need to remember that healing symbol always involves snakes as well. So it's always prayer. Interestingly, over here, to me, whenever I see this card, I really don't necessarily like the interpretation of the book, and I have my own interpretation. And we see lemons and we see a lemonade, but we also see city and the country, as if that this is really telling me about options. And this is really telling me, well, don't think the grass is greener over there. Maybe life just gotten too busy over here. Maybe there was like communication where you couldn't see eye to eye with someone, right? And yet, in spite of all of that, in spite of the glaring things right in your face, you were saying, well, but I still wanted something. I still want you. So it's one of those weird situations in life when you say, well, we kind of like reach the stalemate. You want to live in the city and I want to live in the country. Does this mean we are breaking up? And that kind of stuff. But it almost looks like there is like this, somebody is being guided back in your life, or you are being guided back in their life. So this making a lemonade out of lemons means there is a plan, that maybe you have been sidetracked by your kind of like desire, which maybe is not even that important. Maybe that's going to be just like full assessment. So this is about clarity, and this is about destiny. Guys, your prayers clearly will be answered, and just be of service. And for you, I think you're going to just realize that sometimes, you know, butting horns is not needed, especially if, you know, the ultimate solution is not that important for some reason. So let's see, what do I have left over here? I have Pisces, I have Capricorn, I have Cancer, and I have Taurus. Cancer, you did go really kind of like down this time. So let's see, let's go with you first. Cancer. Oh, no, pardon me. Never mind. Never mind. And Barbie is telling that she has different plans for my readings. So let's honor this. So we are going to do this. Give me a second. So we are going to do the questions again. So it's going to be that you guys need to focus and think of a question, and I need to cover this screen, and let's do this. Let's shuffle. So this is the second one. Let's do this. Come on, answer. There, yes or no questions. Let's see. What do we get? Okay, the one card jumped out, so I'm putting this card first, and then I'm going to just cut the other two decks. And let me just go back on my screen to see you guys. So card number one, door number one. If you guys ask for this door, this is what jumped out. 9 of Cups. You will feel fulfilled over here. You will feel encouraged, and yes, this is coming true. It's as simple as that. Even though I have to tell you that it's not going to be celebration like between the two people, it's more or less going to feel like, hey, you know, I'm feeling so good about it. It's almost like the determination that you kind of like find in the situation. Strength. This is lovely. You might guys have asked about some kind of commitment. In this particular deck, she's kind of like having this a chain around this like lion's neck, and it's almost like treating him like her pet. It's really talking about understanding that we need to kind of like really take charge, and that aggressive attitude is like not needed. So there is something that shouldn't be forced, and also kind of like how strong you really are, because, you know, by learning how not to overreact, we are wondering if you're going to become passive, but this is really telling me by kind of like having this soft approach that things are actually going to move forward. String quality went down. Well, that's sad. And then we have Queen of Wands over here, and which is really interesting because it's again telling me about action and being attractive and kind of like being enthusiastic and kind of like that positivity that is needed to be kind of like pushed into your system, and that's going to be very, very important over here. So there are like 3 yeses over here, so this is really really interesting. But the ones who picked the door number 2, you have a little bit more to work, because that decision and that question has actually some karmic repercussions over here. So right, let's go now. I said it's going to be Cancer next, right? So Cancer. Ooh, my God. See, Cancers? You're getting freaking monthly reading here. So you have 2 of Cups reversed, 8 of Swords, 4 of Pentacles. Here is the Strength card showing up. Five of Swords, Three of Swords reversed, and Four of Swords. Swords, 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 swords. And this is not a good place for you to be. You, my dear Cancers, are fish out of water this week. Oh my goodness. Is there some kind of breakup that is happening, or you're really longing for someone, and that someone is not really even contacting you? You're wondering what the hell has happened, and maybe somebody just cut you off and you're not able to reach them, and you're like completely freaked out about this whole situation, even kind of like heartbroken to a point. There is like also a need to really understand that certain things, look at this over here, it's really interesting. Five of Swords, you can see the pills, so we do know that the kitty is at the vet's office. So this is really talking about some medicines are good for you even though you don't want it. So this whole week it might be a little bit too tumultuous, right? And it might be that people who are much bigger and stronger, more powerful from you are just shoving down something down your throat. And you feel that that's very unfair. You feel this is uncalled for, but it is what it is. You will be actually getting to the mode toward the end of the week, just like, everybody leave me alone. And I think it's going to feel frustrating that you're not moving forward, that you're being blocked out of progress of something that on the surface looks like that you're right. On the surface it looks like this is kind of like something which you should continue. You should continue with this, but this week is not going to be the best for progress. In fact, anything you try, you'll feel blocked and you'll feel kind of like rendered down to really nothing. So you're going to be in a very moody state. Full moon and Cancer, of course. I guess that's going to really, really affect you. You will have lots of disagreements with people close to you, and that's because, as I said, you're going to just feel that you need to produce something, that you need to do something, and yet you feel severely blocked over here. So that is going to be very interesting. So let me grab one of these cards. Gossip. I wonder if somebody is spreading some kind of rumors about you. This is a really important card over here that I really love. It's really talking about this lady who was living in this village, right? So she was always dressed in some kind of like weird dresses, and she had the scarves. I guess it was green, even how the house was green, and all the villagers have really been gossiping about her, right? And one day she dies, and so now the house is being opened, and they're like walking in and seeing all of the paintings in the house, just to understand that she was like extraordinary, right? But she was always almost like the subject of ridicule. But what they see in those paintings, they see themselves. So she painted their lives. She painted all these people with huge love and like huge care, that people start all of a sudden feeling ashamed. Imagine like you're screaming at somebody and you are disgusting, you are crazy, and then all they give you back is love. It cannot be more hurtful than that, right? So I really think that this really talks about differences with how you're being blocked. You need to understand that there is like a lesson that you need to learn over here. Maybe there is like somebody who is applying prejudice and misunderstanding. Maybe there is something that you are resisting, or maybe simply just naive, right? So this really talks about honor. Maybe you're going to have this as a big kind of like subject on your plate, something that has been honorable or hasn't been honorable. So it's going to come time that you really need to kind of like regroup yourself. Maybe you're just going to relax, and maybe you're going to feel like simply that you're not appreciated, and that is what's going to be kind of like going and flowing through your head, and it's going to bother you very much. So it's going to be tense week, Cancers. I'm not going to really give you false hope, but as I said, the Strength card says you need to persist. You need to keep going, because there is like a lesson here that you really need to absorb and learn. So that was here. Yeah, so we are getting the sun coming through in Toronto. It's supposed to be fully sunny by 1 o'clock. And so that's where you see the sun gets into my pyramids, my spheres, and kind of like we get the rainbow, which is lovely. So that was my Cancer. So let's go with Pisces. Pisces. Let's see what we have here for you. Pisces. Pisces. Any Pisces here, guys? I'm sort of a cuspy with Pisces. Oops. That's why I'm not typical Aquarian. I sometimes even cry when I do my readings, because it's sort of like start to really feel hard how these people are going through. So what is with all these kings? Pisces, you're having people in your life. King of Swords and King of Cups. This almost can talk about some kind of like legal issues. It could be somebody you're dealing at work and somebody you're dealing with in your private life. And King of Swords upright is actually a really good news, right? So look, in this particular, you know, deck, we see the key coming in and out as you please. So there's like this sense of freedom, right? And kind of like when he comes in, he's always saying, well, this is what happened out there. He's kind of sharing his tales of his adventures, right? But, you know, this is something about dignity when we see kings, right? This king here invites you to take a really bold, original approach, right? And to follow through of any kind of like aspirations that you have. You might find yourself being right in the center of something happening, right? Maybe that's going to make you feel a little bit uncomfortable. And that's what I said. Sometimes it represents the kind of like judge of some kind of like sort, right? This king over here, the King of Cups, is somebody who's calm and very kind of like emotional. So he doesn't have this kind of like inclination to go in and out. He's like really comfortable with kind of like sleeping in the sun, right? Not the cat who craves excitement. It's almost like there are two sides of the coin over here, right? So with this energy, we learn how to manage our emotions without the need to control others, kind of a thing, right? So everybody kind of like needs to get along in this kind of household, right? And be happy, and everybody has to contribute toward that goal, where here is like more about individuality. So I really think that you're marrying two opposites, and especially the Magician card, when it comes reversed, it's saying that you don't have everything that you need, which kind of like we see it in these cards, which you need to kind of like see different aspects. So we already have, you're a water sign, you already have King of Cups in you. That's the potential that you need to evolve to the maximum, right? But there is like some level of independence. Maybe you are too agreeable. Maybe you're being led down the kind of like, garden path, as they say. So you will need to kind of show independence. You will need to show thinking through by yourself. You will need to show that you can take this resolute action. So all of that is going to be very, very important. And we have this expansion card, and I had for somebody else, which is giving the background story. Here is like the sky god is trying to figure out, I want to color the sky, but I don't know which color to pick, right? So, you know, the spirit is telling him, well, you know, just wait. It's going to come to you. Intuition is going to come to you. So finally, it comes to him, and he says, well, you know, I'll make it blue. It makes sense. Let's make it hope. Let's make it uplifting, right? So expansion card is always talking about that your life is changing, right? And you need to move from the old way of relating to others. So I think that you are kind of creating your own toolbox, that maybe you're relying upon somebody to do things for you, and you're admiring when they do it, but now you're realizing the need that maybe you have to do it yourself. I also feel that new people are entering your life, And you know, you also need to reach out to those who are in the same vibrational frequency, right? Because there's like something that you are expanding, that you're learning. So you need to obtain some tools over here. So there'll be people in your life who might be a little bit different than you are. So you kind of like need to call on your, like, I mean, higher spirit, or like, I mean, higher self, and say, well, what is this person bringing into my life, and how best I can continue interacting with this person. So be very open to it, because the people coming in your life and people you will interact with this week will actually bring some change, and they will be able to make you understand about certain things that you need to do. Like yesterday, I was walking in a park, and I ran into in the woman who adopted Tiger's sister, right? So two of them are playing and playing and playing, and and sorry to give you gruesome details, all of a sudden her dog kind of like burps, and she kind of like vomits, and so, oh, poor Mina, like, what's going on? So we decided to go to the neighbor. I said, like, let's go to this bench and just sit a little bit so her tummy kind of relaxes. I come to the bench, and somebody left a book over there, and the book is called White Tiger, and it's apparently a bestseller. So something like that, I feel it came to my life. It was clearly meant for me to take it. I'm sure the person who left it is not going to appreciate this, but I also plan to finish it today and return it right back. But this is going to show me some kind of tool, and apparently it's like some kind of like tongue-in-cheek, I mean, kind of black humor about the murderer, kind of like talking about his vision of life in a humorous way, of life in India, kind of a thing. So it's going to be interesting. So let's do this. Libra was first, my dear Eden. So Libra was at 7:15. If you scroll it back there, you're going to find us. We are now on Capricorn. So Capricorn. And Barbie, I have to figure out how do I send you this that you don't even have to type. And I was not that successful most of the times. So Capricorn, you have 2 of Wands. This one wanted to come. Ooh, the moon, but this is good when it reverses. Remember how I was like telling you about the moon? Oh, there are 2. So you have a 2 of Wands, you have the moon, you have 8 of Wands, and you have 10 of Pentacles. So you guys are waking up from a dream. You guys have realized that you have lived an illusion, and you were always choosing in between the 2 illusions, and you felt that you were choosing the right one. It's almost like reminds me of elections, when we have to choose this party or this party. In Canada, we have more parties than 2, but it always looks like that one is holding strong and all of the others are splitting the vote. So hence we have to vote strategically, right? And to see what makes most sense, and you're not voting for basically the guy or woman you want. So 2 of Wands really kind of like tells me something like that, right? Because look at her, like she's trying to grab this, like, I mean, lizard, but oh my gosh, are you going to just like tumble down like entirely? And this is not going to be a really good thing. So here I go, I'm trying to fix the crooked camera and fix my LCD. And the moon is telling me that there was like something that you felt is right in your reach. It's right there. I just need to jump higher. I just need to do better. I just want to do this. I just want to do that. But then the moon card, this Santa story that I have given, like in the doors number 1, 2, 3, says, well, wait a minute. Maybe all along I have been focusing on a completely wrong thing. Maybe all of it was illusion. I was living an illusion. I was living a dream. But this is all in a good way. This is not like feeling bitter. This is not kind of like feeling disappointed. And I really messed it up now. Pardon me. This is really talking about moving it forward. It's almost like that you try to be something that you are not, guys. Because the 2 of Wands is fire. This is water. And this is fire. And there we are. You're coming back. And maybe it's going to be lots of lovey-dovey messages over here, guys, because Eight of Wands is really talking about instant emergency. You need to deal with that right away. The moon means like waking up from this illusion and saying, oh my gosh, like, I mean, this was here all the time, I have it. It's kind of like you were striving, you had this goal, maybe, you know, you wanted to have this perfect job, and you were working long nights to give you that kind of like example, and then it goes to somebody else who was lazy, who did nothing. Maybe like he or she went out to have a drink with the boss. Okay, here this emergency, that's the emergency. We are seeing it over here, just with the auditory signals over here. And all of a sudden you're realizing, wait a minute, what I want out of life, I want this. So we see a Tom and a Queen here sitting in a hay, you know, and enjoying their, like, I mean, sun, the place in the sun, right? So everything seems to be good. Life is good. There's plenty of food and shelter. They love the mice they can chase, etc., right? So this is a card of a conventional success. So this is 9 and this is 10. Right? So this is talking about something that is permanent. This is going to stop with lots of cars going by. So I really think that you are realizing all of a sudden that you will go back to live a lifestyle that is really familiar and predictable, and a lifestyle for which you are really kind of like well suited, right? So when this card appears, you might find that it describes your current situation or something that you're striving to achieve. So you're like really having this process that maybe is taking place, that there's a realization, oh my gosh, I was chasing a dream. Maybe you're chasing a person who seems to be so fantastic, but you're going to just hit you well with this person. And okay, the sun arrived as well. Just like as we're talking about it, you will see the rainbows quite a bit over here. And now it's just kind of like occurring you, well, with this person actually I would never be happy, because I really like my farmhouse style home, and this person is all glam. I don't know if I want to be in high heels all the time, kind of a thing, right? Something like that is going to happen. Growth. It's interesting, like so many cards, I keep getting the same cards. Again, this is the one that says emergency room if you really look closely, which means that certain things need to be put together. There are disconnected parts of you, and you felt that you haven't been yourself. You almost like you felt that you have lost the way. So this is falling in heart chakra, which kind of like, again, it talks about your heart desire. So your heart desire being earth element, it's really talking about this comfort and steadiness and loyalty, and that is really important. So it's almost like going to be a week of a personal commitment and following your own heart and following, understanding, well, look, maybe I like to go slower, right? So, but it's also going to be the sense of courage over here and the sense of abundance over here. And you're going to be really standing tall and going to feel right no matter what kind of decisions you need to make or utter. So it's going to be absolutely wonderful over here. So that's, we are on the last sign. So let's do Taurus. Taurus, you're still not looking enough, so something is going on. Taurus, and hopefully, guys, everybody got their Halloween suit. And I don't know where my phone is. Tiger got his Halloween suit. Actually, I got it too big, and I got yesterday a smaller version. I still need to try it on him to see if this is still too big. It's kind of weird when they said, well, this is going to fit, you know, what did they say? Bijon or something, but it's like much bigger. So it was really hard to kind of like make this judgment. So double cap, you have two options in love. Clueless. You're going to find that you're going to choose Ms. Wizard Tarot, somebody who feels like a glove that fits, with whom you can be a home buddy, with whom you will share, hey, let's do something today. And what you will do, you'll go and check real estate, you will check drapes, It's not going to be fancy restaurant kind of like things. That's kind of like going to be the feeling this particular week. So Taurus, for you, look at this. You have a King of Pentacles, the Hermit. So both cards are very much earth element, but then you have this ominous Ace of Swords reversed. So the week is starting good, right? It's a Knight of Pentacles. It talks about exploration. It could be talking about the friends, but this is also about, ta-da, drum roll, being stubborn, right? And sometimes being even pessimistic. But it's clearly talking about hard work, right? So we are seeing this like stalking scenario here when the kitty kind of like is really focused. Really something is that I want over here, right? But it's kind of like taking your job seriously if you really think about it, right? So it almost looks like here is kind of like determining what is the best method. I want to get somewhere, but I really don't want to be confrontational, right? So this is like something that leads to prosperity, right? But you need to really make sure that you are not obsessive in your pursuit over here, that this focus sometimes can make the good things kind of like passing by you. And that is, I believe, the big message of this particular card. And the Hermit is talking about introspection. It's a guidance. It's about solitude, right? So it's kind of like really interesting over here. This is the black kitty with this like big star on his collar over here. So almost like tells me that this kitty is looking at this kind of like urban landscape, and he's saying, well, this is my home. I'm a city cat, right? So, and this, even though it looks like a necklace, it almost like tells me this card is real. This cat is very self-sufficient. So hence, this cat over the time developed confidence, right? And he lives in solitude, but not without companionship. Companionship is there, right? Also, what I see over here, there's this light on this door. So soon, looks like that door will open, and this black kitty is going to spend some time with this visitor. So this is sort of like a detached compassion over here, and it's a search for deeper meaning. You're missing something in your day-to-day activities, almost like you're all worked up over something that needs to happen. This also can talk about some kind of teacher that can take you to a spiritual journey, or needing to kind of look into something. Now, this means that maybe you're cutting off somebody in your life. Maybe you're thinking about that because you're really looking into how to move forward. Ace of Swords is truth is not being told, or somebody lied to you. There is almost a little bit of obsessive quality that I see over here, and that's not necessarily good over here. So really look deep, look for that wisdom, because it's going to be very, very important, kind of how you'll process it this particular week. Hello, creative girl. Oof, grief. Oh my gosh, this card always makes me sad. Always kind of I have tears in my eyes when I see this card, because it's never easy to lose a pet, right? So I always say grief is a love without a place to go. We cannot channel it. We know it, we understand it, they're in a better place. We get it, the transition. And apparently on the other side, they're laughing at us and say, why are you so sad? I'm so good over here, right? But here is really talking about being ready. And I think there is some kind of big sadness that is really happening. So it is a loss, Taurus, of some sense. Maybe you have been focused on somebody who maybe let you down. Maybe you wanted everything and somebody said, no, you're just going to be friends with benefits, kind of a thing, right? So this is really telling me that you need to give yourself time. Maybe you feel a little bit lost. Maybe you feel lied to. Maybe you still carry some kind of grief in you, and that is preventing you from progress. You really need to examine what is really in your heart, right? Maybe you're missing someone. Maybe, you feel also very vulnerable, and that can really talk about that you're feeling that maybe you are the one being hunted. Maybe you feel that you know, you're in some kind of corner. It's really, really hard for you to push it forward, right? So this is to me talking about the strength of character, that you are able to honor your growth, right? That you are kind of like able to kind of like show this kind of like deep caring. You might also, maybe you kind of like push somebody away, and now it's going to be time to kind of understand everything they have contributed to your life. And that usually comes when we kind of like feel that we have pushed, somebody pushed too many buttons on us, and we just cannot even hear anything they do, because even the little kind of like, I mean, straw on the camel's back is now collapsing the whole freaking thing, right? So this really talks about, you know, hard challenges or deep pain in your life, but it's also telling me that you're going to be good, you're going to love again, things are going to get restored, and you just simply need to deal with maybe this blow that currently happened, because I guess you're really not feeling good about some betrayal or some lies that are happening. So thank you, Steve, for reminding this. And I think Barb is going to say, kind of giving us a mini reading for the people who are still here. So let's do that. So this is just the room only. So if you guys are listening this on the replay, make sure you can join us Saturday or Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that way you actually contribute your energy. So let's do this. Let's see, creative girl, Taurus rising, divorcing a guy who walked out on me, then totally turned on me, litigating everything. So disappointed he's acting this way, or money. Yeah, that kind of like clearly picked up on your energy. And it's basically saying, you know what, this too shall pass. I mean, I wish I can sugarcoat this, but only kind of like silver lining that I see here is that understanding that you need to let it out of your system, right? Like, remember what I said, grief is love without place to go. So it's festering. You need to find the outlet where you are giving this love, that you're finding something that you can really focus. Yeah, I'm really sad to hear that. I wish I can give you a big hug. So let's do the reading for the group. Let's see what comes up for this week. Guys, for us in Canada, it's Thanksgiving. We have Thanksgiving holiday on Monday. So I will come up with Access series Tuesday on going forward. And look at how many cards we have. 9 of Pentacles, 5 of Wands, the Star. And hopefully everybody, oh, there is like one more hiding here. The Emperor. I wanted 3 cards and I got like what, 25 or something. Judgment, Strength, 6 of Wands. It's almost like everybody's like higher spirit wants to speak over here. 5 of Swords, Knight of Swords, King of Pentacles, and 9 of Wands. Jesus, where do I start? Okay, the most important thing to understand that this is extremely positive reading. But it's also talking about that something is not being set in stone. I have like these 2 5s, right? And 5s are always talking about kind of like wobbly things around, where we need to establish our own boundaries, where we maybe need to push and sometimes we need to defend, right? Because sometimes we feel like, well, you know, if I push my way, what will I really win? But the truth is that even small things matter. For example, I mean, maybe you are very agreeable, or maybe you're really easygoing and you always go where, you know, your friends want you to go. And then it gets to the point that maybe one time you really want something really badly, right? That frequently happens to me. Let's watch this movie. And I like really kind of like, I'm a big movie fan. And no, we don't want this. And this is in a foreign language and whatnot. I don't want to read the subs on it. And then you go, huh? And I have been there all along. I have been doing all of these things. It never bothered me. And now you just cannot do this for me. So it's going to be one of those things and saying, hey, you know, this is really meaningful for me. Let's kind of move it forward. Which is interestingly enough, because there is victory. in that process that has been communicated well. We see the star, like there is like new feeling of being established and feeling comfortable. This also feels like, I mean, being satisfied in work, satisfied with what we are earning and what we are accumulating. Look at this, like we have uh, four majors over here. So this is really telling me that this group here is like highly spiritual. Something is really important happening over here, right? So we have the Judgment, which is one of my karmic cards. It's really telling us that we don't need to be forceful. To some extent, we might kind of like bruise some egos around us. That will happen. But we really need to position ourselves better, right? Because in the end, here we have this Knight of Swords, King of Pentacles, and Nine of Wands. So this is really telling the truth. And what do we need for us to feel comfortable, to us to feel accomplished? So what is our definition of success? In which direction do we really want to go, and how we want to go? So Nine of Wands is saying, look, interestingly, that everything is landing on 9 and starting with 9 because the Emperor is the major over here. So Nine of Pentacles is saying we are feeling certain comfort, but we are not willing to stay there for freaking forever, right? And when it comes to Nine of Wands, like it's almost like looking at the steps in the grass. Somebody has been here, and you know, I really need to follow up this trail. So this is really talking about full understanding of the comfort that we have, and also even more so understanding that we do want to continue down on this path. We want to kind of like move in that direction. So Nine of Wands is saying, no matter what, I am committed. And I see this in the star, and this is the same vibration, the star and the strength. They both have this vibration of 8. So there are going to be some kind of commitments. It almost looks like, guys, here, when I see such overwhelming good reading, that tells me that there were issues in our life that have been difficult, that we had to deal with, taking basically these bursts out of our own fur, and it was painful pulling it out and getting rid of all these things that have been bothering us, and it maybe didn't work well. And I really feel that kind of asking for the new system, for the new process, and kind of like following through on it consistently. Consistency is going to pay. We'll be in control, we'll be stable, we'll feel financially capable, very capable, and we will get some kind of affirmation that we are on the right path, that all of these kind of like war injuries that we suffer on the way are basically now good, that we have done things, we fought for something, and we have won. So just continue on the path. Speak your truth, as I said, not with forcefulness, but with sort of like elegance. And it's going to be very important to understand that by the end of the week, we will really know who we are and which direction we are going through. So this is going to be very, very important. And there are like some signs coming through strongly. I have Aries, I have Aquarius, I have Leo, I have Scorpio, and I have earth signs and fire as well showing through really, really strongly, and and air as well. So keep that in mind, guys, that we will actually work with some higher energies this week. So that maybe talks about possibly this like full moon in Aries over here, that how it's going to affect us, since you guys do know that, okay, I can take this as entertainment, but if I take this, okay, so I have an hour or two that I spend with Cat on Saturday, but then I can do something about it. That's basically how I started on meditation. A girlfriend of mine dragged me to her basically meditation sessions, and I was like thinking, oh my gosh, that's so freaking boring. I was like 22 at the time, and I said, but I really want to go to a club, and I'll wait for you until you finish, until 10 or so we can go. So I would kind of keep myself busy and going around shopping. But then it was a few times that I really didn't feel like doing it. So I was just waiting in the background of the room while she was doing that. And I think it was the fourth or fifth week in a row that I said, okay, well, I just tried to join and see how it is. And it was like, boom, I was transformed. I finally realized, oh my gosh, this is so potent. I can go through, and the rest is history, as you know. So thank you very much, guys, for being here with me. I still need to do a little bit of twisting with this camera, so it is a little bit clearer, but at the same time I need to see more of a table, but at least it was not fiasco as the last time. So thank you very much to everybody. Thank you for being here. Barbie, I'm going to send you the notes so she can post the stamps. And guys, enjoy your week, and basically happy Thanksgiving to all Canadians. So I'm going to see you next Saturday. So until the next time, guys, I wish you all the best. I'm going to play the music so we can still speak for a few minutes, and then let's kind of like move on. Look at this, the sunshine is coming here, so this is all good. Love you, love you, love you, guys. You know that I always want the best. So until the next time, sending you great